Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Run It Back, the show where we try to get things right the second time. In today's episode, as Outlaws of Thunder Junction comes rolling down the hills this weekend to local game stores near you, we're going to be taking a look at another sealed pool, so that way you might end up taking a look at your pre-release pack, finding something similar to this, and knowing where to go. We'll dive into it now. As we open up our packs, we're going to notice the very first thing that we have here is very few lands to go with. Usually these things show up in about 50% of packs, and so typically you can expect about 3 of them in your sealed pool, maybe more if you're lucky. We've only got 2 of them here, so we're on the unlucky side. We also have a Mirage Mesa, which will likely play in just about any deck just because it's a desert. It also fixes for any color, so that's definitely a bonus, but only having 2 Crime Deserts is going to be big. Moving on to our rarities, we see Bristly Bill, one of possibly the best cards in the set because it comes down early. You play your lands, it ends up getting bigger, and then of course the second line of text says double the number of 1/1 counters on each creature you control. So this is big in the green-white deck. Also notably, we have a Thoughtseize here. Happy to see that. Marchesa, Dealer of Death, was in one of my top 10 rares videos, mainly because when you commit crimes, you may pay 1. You may do this any number of times in your turn, and of course look at the top 2 cards, put 1 in your hand, the other in the graveyard. Abrupt Decay was a modern staple, is a legacy staple. This is a great card. Happy to see it. Detention Sphere, a little bit less exciting, but also still pretty good. Notably, it's in white, which is sort of like one of the only colors we're not really looking at. Slick Shot Show Off definitely feels pretty good here. A great plot card, something that I want to be playing pretty often. However, we don't have a lot of red showing up in our rares, so we're going to have to kind of see where this leads us down. Rush of Dread, I think, is likely worth it because any of these modes could be good if they do it. Notably, it's also only for opponent. Many Pox effects like this have all been for everybody, but Rush of Dread is only for opponent, so I think I'm playing that most of the time. Currently, with Thoughtseize and Abrupt Decay and Rush of Dread, Karavec definitely seems like something I want to be playing, and Caustic Bronco, both Key to the Vault. These are all great cards. So, taking a look at our colors split as of right now, you'll see that we have got 4 black cards plus Abrupt Decay and Bristly Bill in like the green-black strategy, and then Marchesa, Key to the Vault, and Slick Show Off in more of a Grixis build. We could play any of these other 3 cards. Likely, if we're playing Marchesa, we're playing all of them. But if we're playing, let's say, more of a Soul type strategy, this Key to the Vault definitely could be splashed for. It is 5 mana to actually get on something, but once you connect, that's when you're starting to get a whole bunch of extra value. So as we start taking a look at our rarity, or excuse me, the multicolor section, we're going to open up and see that we don't have a lot of black in the commons and uncommon slot, but we definitely have the black power in the rares, so it's definitely worth something looking at splashing for. If we're not playing black, we're losing out on 5 rares, and that's not something that we typically want to be doing. As we move over into our multicolors slot over here, we're going to see we've got 2 here in red-black. Seem kind of interesting, but this back for more. Return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, and when you do, it fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. I think this is likely in the deck. So right now we're going to go through a lens of probably some sort of green-black, and then maybe if we need to, we can splash with some blue, mainly because we've got both the Lush Oasis and the Soured Springs. So a couple of things that only require 1 singleton blue definitely seem like it's going to be possible for us. So let's go ahead and add those over here. Quickly take a look at our colorless cards. None of these really seem all that strong. I like Gold Pan in like a Breaches style deck, but we're not certainly that. Maybe we could look at Oasis Gardener if we're really stretching for things, but I don't think that we really need to be there either. So taking a look at green. We see this Cactarantula, which I think is going to be a great way to go. We've got 3 deserts, so it's pretty easily going to be a 5 mana 6/5. Get this in the deck, I think. Let's take these out for now. Full Steam Ahead is going to be really good if we've got lots of creatures. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but at least for now, we'll keep it off to the side. Rise of the Varmints is X 2 1s, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. I think these 2 cards are going to go hand in hand. If we're heavy on creatures, then these are going to be great. If we're light on creatures, both of them are going to fall a little short. Reach for the Sky seems okay, but nothing too crazy. Mill 3 cards, land among them into your hand if you can't create a treasure token. This also seems filler and fine, but nothing that exciting. As we look at the Tumbleweed Rising, it really only sort of works with the Cactarantula or something like Bristly Bill. But if Bristly Bill's already going that heavy, then I don't know if necessarily, putting the Tumbleweed Rising in there is going to be that helpful. Throw from the Saddle, I think, is going to be particularly excellent because if it's a mount, which we don't currently have, it gets a 1/1 counter. Otherwise, just, a punch spell looks good. Stubborn Burrowfiend, this is a mount I think I'm in on playing. It also sort of plays well with this Rise of the Varmints, but even still, you mill 2 cards, and even if it turns into like a 3/3 or a 4/4, I think that that's great. And sometimes this Rise of the Varmints will be just stuck in hand or in plot. Hard Bristle Bandit, we've got 2 of these. This definitely suggests I want to be doing a little bit more splashing as well, because this now means that we've got 5 blue sources without ever playing a single island, and that to me seems very good. And then, of course, Snakeskin Veil, I think, is going to be a card you're going to want to be playing early and often in the format because there's going to be lots of people doing lots of crime. So, overall, green seems fine, but nothing wild about it. You know, I've got just some good cards and definitely worth a splashing color here. Let's take a look at black and see what we can find there. Moving over our red cards, so we've got space for black. We've got this Consuming Ashes, which is definitely great. We've got Boneyard Desecrator, which seems okay, but nothing phenomenal. I think Vault Plunderer likely makes most decks. And then as we take a look here, we've got this Mourner Surprise, probably playing 2 of those. Desert Dew is great here. And then Forsaken Miner as well. So between these 2 colors, we're on 19 cards, which means we're going to need a splash color if we're going to want to do that. Now, our lands suggest it should be blue. Let's make sure that the actual cards do as well. None of these expensive cards really suggest that I'm going to be doing a whole lot. Stop Cold is fine, but I don't think it's going to be as good as some of the other things that we've seen in the past. This is certainly no Out Cold from MKM. Outlaw Stitcher, I think, is going to be a good one. You either get a 1/4 and a 2/2, or if you happen to be able to plot something ahead of time, I think this is going to be particularly good. It's even better if we hit it off this Key to the Vault. Nimble Brigand seems like it's going to be a good one in our deck as well. We're pretty easily able to hit crime with 2 deserts and black kill spells. I think this one's going to be a pretty easy way to go. Spring Splasher, if you need a crime, is going to be a good one, but I don't think we want to splash for it. This Fleeting Reflection definitely can be a good crime while also protecting one of your threats. It can also turn something like Bristly Bills at 2/2 into some sort of big Cactarantula or something, and you get to keep the counters on top of that. And the rest of these seem sort of okay at best. So taking a look at everything as it sits, we are currently sitting at 23 cards and 3 lands, which I think is going to be pretty good. We're really only splashing blue for the couple of really powerful spells, and that sort of really helps us out with this. Now, one of the things that you'll notice as we sort of take a look back at the colors is red seemed like a very strong color, and we need to sort of consider this one as well, right? Marchesa kind of gets us in red if we're in blue-black. Vile Smasher and Terminal Agony, these are great cards. Trick Shot, we've got 2 of those, as well as Magebane Lizard seems maybe fine, depending on the strategy. This Mine Raider probably is okay. Longhorn Sharpshooter is good. Slickshot Show Off is great. Return the Favor, probably not anything we're playing. Coyote's fine, but 3 Explosive Derailments. Like, we've got 11 red cards in red-black that I think we'd be pretty interested in playing. And so we can kind of take a look there. But as we sort of look back, if we play, let's say, a Grixis Shell, we're losing out on Lush Oasis, so we only have 2 of these. We're also losing out on both of these green cards, and then we lose out on 2 more fixers in the Hard Bristle Bandits, plus this Bristly Bill. So if we lose out on these 9 and bring in, let's say, these, like, 11-ish, and then also even get rid of, like, our 2 worst blue cards, like Fleeting Reflection maybe, and maybe like the Stitcher, and we take a look at what this deck looks like, just sort of splashing for these couple cards in blue, right? We've only got these couple blue cards, which are the really powerful ones. I just don't think that this deck looks better than what our Sultai one sort of looked like, right? If we take these cards out over here, and then take a look at the mana value, separating it out, we have 10 creatures, and we're just on all removal spells. Now, 2 of our spells here are like 2 more creatures, sure, but I just don't think that there's enough power here. It's all removal spells. And so while removal spells are good, you definitely want some additional power to sneak back in there. So I think that red is definitely something you could look at in this deck, but I just think that it's likely going to be too inefficient overall. So I like the idea of playing our Sultai deck that we had. Let's just take another look at that one as well. And even though We'll take a look. Mana value, separate 9 creatures. We have 11 creatures, which is only one more. We've got some creatures that can just win you the game. And this Stubborn Burrow Fiend, this Forsaken Miner continuously comes back. Bristly Bill makes just about any creature on the face of the earth going to be great. Works particularly well with things like Nimble Brigand as well. And then also, once we put a bunch of creature or counters here on the Zombie Rogue that comes with Outlaw Stitcher, then Bristle Bill can double those counters, making it bigger and bigger. Also, as we take a look at our removal spells here, we just have our Thoughtseize, Consuming Ashes, and Abrupt Decay. Those are pretty much the main removal spells. We also have a Throw from the Saddle and then a Desert's Dew for some early things, which is particularly good. But it really allows us to get in with some tempo strategy here, right? Like we're able to play our bill on probably 3 and then like play a tap land or something like that. So that way we can end up getting our counters. But after that, all you're doing is playing your lands and killing things, and Bill's still getting in, or Caustic Bronco's still getting in. You know, it's just very easy to sort of let this thing get out of hand. So I think I like the Sultai build here overall, and happy to see it as it is. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy your time with Outlaws of Thunder Junction this weekend if you're playing. Otherwise, we will see you in Arena on April 16th when it releases full for everybody. I will talk to you soon. I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye-bye.